Hello everyone, I'm Sara and it's time for Friday Fun with Sara. Now today it is a whopping 22 degrees. Brrr. And that's the reason why we cannot plant until after Mother's Day up here in Colorado where I live. Now what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you a before and after I cleaned up my garden area, which is right here. Then I'm also going to show you a really cool pallet project that I did, making a pallet sign. And then lastly, we're going to make a whirly jig. Whirly jigs are awesome and fun, and the movement of them keeps birds and predators out of your garden. And they're also super pretty. So come along with me and we'll have some fun today. So it's time to start the deck cleanup where I keep my garden. Everything's a mess. And this is a before video. I can't wait to show you what it's going to look like when I get it done. So I've done the cleanup. Washed my pots. Some of them have compost in them. But I've got a blank slate here, all ready to be planted. Now it's too early to plant here in Colorado, but what I wanted to show you is this magnificent pallet. I've got plans for that pallet. The first thing I did to prepare my pallet was to paint it with an antique white paint so that it would have a whitewash effect. I'm going to let it dry and then I'll design it into the cutest garden sign you've ever seen. Once the whitewash was dry, I took a marker and just sort of sketched on some words. Welcome, be happy, plant, water, dig, and of course, pick. Now it's time to get to painting. The next step was to paint over those letters with some black acrylic paint. Now I didn't paint over the one at the bottom because I'm going to put a flower basket there like that one, and you won't be able to see it. But we have dig, water, plant, be happy, and welcome. And I was trying to use some different fonts just for fun. And now I'm going to do some stenciling. I'm very excited about it. So here's all the painting that I did. I didn't use as much of the stencils as I thought I would. I went ahead and did a lot of it freehand. I like the vine running through it, and it's really pretty, and I can't wait to plant some flowers in there. Now I am going to use a sealer. I'm going to spray it with a clear sealer so that it doesn't get messed up in the weather. But I love it. So my garden sign is all complete. It says welcome. It's been sealed, and I love how it looks. I can't wait for the weather to get warmer so I can plant. Now I have another pallet project going on over here, but you'll have to wait a couple weeks before I tell you what that's all about. So this is a whirly jig, and this is one of the first things I learned how to crochet from an older lady in my church that was kind of helping me along in learning how to make these. I made tons of these. I hung them all over our fence when I was a kid and just had a lot of fun with it. And I also made them out of medium weight number 4 yarns instead of what I'm going to show you what I'm going to use today. So the yarn that I used for this one is this Yarn Bee Scrub-ology Scrub It. And I bought a whole bunch of them when they were 30% off at my local Hobby Lobby. It's a nylon yarn. It's a bulky number 5 or chunky number 5 yarn. It's very sturdy, and I like to use that yarn for lots of projects in the garden because it's going to hold up over time. It's not going to be affected by the water or the weather. Now they will fade in the sun, so I usually make new ones each year. I did not make any last year, and I thought I need to make some for this year. And it doesn't take very much yarn, about 2.5 ounces or 3 ounces total for one like this. This one measures about 40 inches long, and that includes the big tassel on the end. And if you don't have this yarn, you can use any bulky weight number 5 yarn, or like I used to do 40 years ago, you can make this holding 2 strands of medium weight number 4 yarn together. So there's lots of options there for yarn. You don't have to use this yarn. I just love it for crochet projects in the garden because it will hold up. And you can see I got lots of colors here. And there's even more colors than what I have here. Hobby Lobby has a lot of really pretty colors in these. And the neat thing about it, it has a little bit of a sparkle to it because it is that nylon yarn. All right. So wait till your Hobby Lobby has it on sale for 30% off and grab a bunch. And you can also get them online as well. And I used orange and purple in this yellow here. It's kind of a more of a bright yellow than this yellow. All right, and then you're going to need some beads if you want to, and you can use any beads that you want. You're going to need about, I'm going to say, let's see, let's just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 beads for your strands. And if you want to put some here, you can. The key is you need to be able to slide them on your yarn. We put one on each, and then we tie the bottom so they don't come off. And it makes a nice little bit of a weight. And if you use bells, those work great too, but remember bells rust when they get wet. So you can use plastic or glass, lots of different types of beads. This is a 3/4 inch wooden bead. These here that I'm going to use today, it just says gold and silver. These are pony beads. They're plastic. I don't see a size on those. Pony beads come in 2 sizes. There's tiny ones and regular size. And these are the regular size ones. And I'm going to be using these today. But there's lots of other options as well. We used some of these last year. Stars, red, white, and silver and gold. But I mean, you can come up with any kind of bead. You can make a polymer bead, a glass bead, a wooden bead, a plastic bead, or leave no beads at all. It's just kind of up to you and what you want to do. We're going to stitch today with a K-hook, which is a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook. You'll need a needle that's big enough to be able to thread that yarn on just for weaving in your ends. And then, of course, you'll need a pair of scissors. Now, the length of your whirly jig is totally up to you. Like I said, this one measures about 40 inches long when it's hung up, and it stretches a little bit. Okay, for our demonstration today, I'm going to make one that's a little bit smaller just so it doesn't take up as much time. And I like them in different sizes anyway. All right, so bottom line, you can use any bulky number 5 yarn, or you can use 2 strands of medium weight number 4 held together, or you can pick up some of this Yarn Bee Scrub-ology Scrub-it yarn that's made out of nylon. Like I said, it's my favorite yarn for making crochet projects in the garden. So I'm going to use these 3 colors for today's demonstration. I'm going to begin with this sort of a minty green. Then I'm going to add the purple and the pink. But you can use whatever colors you want. You can use variegated stripes, ombres, make it all in one color, make it as many colors as you want. And it's also a great scrap busting project because you can just grab whatever colors you've got and go for it. So if you want to make a whirly jig that's about 40 inches long, you're going to need to chain 80 chains. I'm not going to make this one that long because I don't want it to take up as much time. And plus, like I said, I like them shorter as well in all different sizes. So I'm only going to chain 40 chains. So we'll start with our slip knot. And make sure you leave a little bit of a tail here at the beginning because we're going to use that as a hanger. All right, so I'm going to chain 40, but if you want yours to be 40 inches long, you need to chain 80 chains. You can make it shorter or longer as you want to. Once you've chained the amount of chains that you want, we're going to begin by stitching a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2 loops, yarn over, and go through the second 2 loops. Now we're going to chain 1 and stitch a double crochet right in that same stitch. And so what we're going to do, working back across our chain, is in each chain we're going to double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. And so you'll see it already starting to curl up. And in each chain we're going to double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet, working all the way back across our chain. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in each, there we go, of our chains, working all the way across our chain. I stitched double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in each of my chains across, and you can see it's all nice and curled up. I cut my yarn, and I'm going to bring in my next color. And then we're just going to chain 1, and I'm using this bright pink, and it looks really nice up next to this mint color. So now we're going to turn our work, and we're going to be working back down the curls. We're going to stitch a single crochet in the first stitch, chain 1, skip the next, and single crochet in the next. Chain 1, skip 1, and single crochet in the next stitch. Chain 1, skip 1, single crochet in the next stitch. And we're going to do this working all the way down that curl. Single crochet, chain 1, skip 1. Single crochet, chain 1, skip 1. Working all the way down the outside edge of our curls. And as you work, it will just curl right back up. And see how that looks? And we'll just do this all the way down our row. Single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, and repeat. So I repeated that. Single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet in the next, all the way around. And I really like this pink with this light sort of mint green. I've cut my yarn, and I'm going to bring in my 3rd color. Alrighty, and so now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work again. We're going to single crochet in this first single crochet. Alright, now we're going to single crochet in the first chain 1 space. And then we'll chain 1. And so what we're going to do on this row is we're going to chain 1, skip the single crochet, and single crochet in the chain 1 space. Chain 1, skip the single crochet, and single crochet in the chain 1 space. And that's how we do this last row. Chain 1, skip the single crochet, and single crochet in the chain 1 space. And we'll do this working all the way back down our row, or our curl. See, it works up relatively quickly. And I just love using this yarn for it. It has a little bit of stretch, has a little bit of sparkle, and it's made out of nylon, so it's going to last through the summer. All right, and so that's the way this row should look. We single crocheted in the first, then we single crocheted in the first chain one space, skip one, chain one, single crochet in the chain one space, chain one, skip one, single crochet in the chain one space. Isn't that nice? And we'll repeat this working all the way down our curl. So I repeated the single crochet in the chain one space, chain one, skip the single crochet, and repeat. And here's our last chain one space, and then I'm going to single crochet in that last single crochet. And then I'll cut my yarn and tie that off. Now what we're going to do on this end is we're going to grab all those ends, and we're just going to tie a knot, and this is going to be our hanger. So we'll put those all together. My finger out of there. There we go. All those pieces. That pink one's just a little bit short. Let me grab that one. There we go. Nice good tug. We want those to stay nice and secure. And then we'll just cut those off. And this is what we'll hang it on when we hang up our spinner. Alright, so let's get it all curled back up the way it should be, because it kind of gets ripply when we're adding those rows on, and so we just need to curl it back up. There we go. Still not curled quite right. All right, and again, this one is smaller because I made less chains. If you want it longer, make more chains. If you want it shorter, make less chains. All right, and then now we have the end. And we need to take our needle and weave in these ends. And it's a little bit different weaving in ends on this type of yarn. So you want to make sure it's not going to come undone. And so you're going to go in some of those stitches, but it's a little difficult to go in the fibers because of the nature of thicker yarns and of course this particular kind of yarn. And so we'll go in those stitches, and then we'll kind of go forward and underneath some stitches and then back around. And you want to do that a couple of times. Give it a good pull there. There we go. So we definitely want this to hold. It's going to get swung around in the wind. And we'll do that with this other one. And we'll get this all tidied up, and then I'm going to show you how to add the what I call the big tassel or tassel. My grandmother always said tassel. And then add the beads and hang it up. So you're going to want to cut 2 strands of each color that is about 18 inches long. All right, so I've got all 3 here. I'm going to put them on here so that I can see that it's about 18 inches. And if it's a little longer or a little shorter, it's okay, because we'll trim it when we're done. All right, let's move that out of the way, and then we're going to do another strand of each color. And of course you can add more colors or less colors. It is totally up to you what colors you do your tassel. As a matter of fact, you could do it a completely different color than your project. Just use your imagination and come up with some fun color choices. All right, so now we have 2 strands of each color. We're going to get our whirly jig and go to the bottom, and we're going to go right in that middle color in that first single crochet. We'll grab our strands, try to keep them a little bit even. We'll grab all of them and pull them through. Then we'll wrap the tails around and pull those through that big loop and give it a nice big tug. And I'll tug on all of the colors just to make sure it's nice and tight. All right, so now we have our big tassel or tassel. Now the amount of beads that you add is up to you. You can add 1, 2, 3, or none. And so you'll take 2 strands. And with the wooden ones, I only put 1 bead on each one. And I think I'm going to put 2 on these since they're smaller beads. And plus I have a bunch of them. All right, so I'll take the second strand, thread that onto my needle. The key is to be able to get your yarn in the eye of the needle and then your needle through the beads. All right, and then we'll take those 2 and we'll tie the ends together. This way the beads stay on and they can flop around. And we'll do that over and over until we have enough beads. You can, and like I said, the amount of beads is totally up to you. Like I might just put 1 on this one instead of 2 like I did on the last one. We'll stretch them out and then tie a knot. And you can do your knots at different places so that when you trim, they're not the same. So have some fun with it. Add your beads. You do a couple of beads on 2 different strands and then tie your 2 strands together. And that keeps your beads from coming off your strands. I finished adding the beads to my strands and I think it looks lovely. I love the silver beads. I love the colors in this one and I love the colors in this one. And so now I'm done and I can go hang these out in my garden. Now don't think you have to have a garden to put these up. You can put these anywhere for a beautiful pop of color in your rose garden, your flower gardens, or just hanging under a tree. And they're beautiful, they're fun, they're easy, and I hope you'll make a bunch because I am planning on making some more. So thank you for being with me today on Friday Fun with Sara, and I'll see you next Friday.